everyone, welcome to AICE Psych. I am Miss M, and today we're going to do a quick video about Schachter and Singer, but we're only going to talk about the sample and the independent and dependent variables. Now I say only, but we know that this is a very in-depth study, so let's go. So in our sample for Schachter and Singer, we have students from the University of Minnesota. Originally, we had 185 males, but when the study began, one kind of chickened out, I'll say, and decided he did not want to get an injection at all. So we have 184 males. Now, they were all part of an intro to psych class. So they all kind of knew something about psychology, right? They understood what experimental and control and placebo groups were. But there is some motivation here in this sample, this volunteer sample. And I'll explain why. So all who participated were given 2 extra points on their final exam for every hour they participated in. Motivational bias, right? So, there were some people in the study that we voluntarily made leave because they were kind of catching on. But what if some people knew about it, or they caught on too, and they, didn't say anything about it? They wanted the money. That's what a motivational bias is someone going beyond what would be natural because there's a motivation behind it. Like, oh, I need this money, so I'm just going to keep going no matter what. Or I'll give them what they want, or maybe I'll even fool around and try to screw them up, but it doesn't matter because they're going to get their money. Okay, that's a motivational bias. Also, participants were told that the study was about a new drug for vision, to improve someone's vision, and it's called Ciprofloxacin. So, if you type Ciprofloxacin into Google, it's a made-up word. It's actually going to send you probably to this study. But Ciprofloxacin, remember that. Okay, that's what they were told. This was a study on vision. Okay, and all students were cleared by the health services at the university to make sure that they would be okay being injected with epinephrine, which is basically adrenaline once it's in your body. Okay. So we understand our sample, all males. Remember that when you're generalizing the study. This is only males. So we have 2 variables, only 2, and then we have 7 conditions of our independent variables, okay, which is basically this combination of our independent variables, okay? So let's look at our physiological portion of this. Now, physiological, we have epi-informed. Okay, so this group got an injection of epinephrine, and they were told the true side effects of this. So being told the true side effects, we know that they're not going to copy these stooges later on. We don't think that they should because they know why they're feeling the way that they're feeling. Okay. In the second group, we have a epi-misinformed. So they were given an injection of adrenaline, epinephrine, and then they were told completely opposite, off the wall kind of, reactions that they would have to this injection. So their feet would be numb, basically just false things. They would feel tired, not the truth. Okay. In actuality, those epi-informed are going to have palpitations, heart racing, sweating, things like that. So the misinformed group, we're hoping that they do copy the stooge, because if they're having these issues, or they're not going to have numb feet. They're not going to feel tired. We just injected them with epinephrine. So when they start to have these feelings that they didn't know they were going to have, we're hoping that they say, oh, it must be the environment causing me to feel this way. And we're hoping that that group, the misinformed group, is one of the groups that copies these stooges. Our third group is the epi-ignorant, and ignorant just means that you have no clue, completely no clue. So we gave them injection, and then we didn't say anything about any side effects. So we're also hoping that this group is a group that shows a lot of interest in the euphoric classroom and a lot of anger in the anger classroom. So our last group is the placebo effect. They're going to get injected with saline, which is salt water, and they shouldn't feel anything. We didn't tell them they were going to feel anything. They just got an injection. So out of these 4 groups, the epi-informed and the placebo should not fall victim to our stooges in these 2 rooms. But our misinformed and our ignorant group, they should fall victim. Okay, which means they should be super excited and happy, or they should be really angry and disgusted with this quiz. Which kind of brings me to this second part of the variable. Now we have our psychological part. This is the euphoric classroom or the anger classroom. Okay, in the euphoric classroom, we had a stooge, and they were basically leading the pack on playing these activities and active games and stuff in this classroom, like crunching up a piece of paper and playing basketball with it, or doodling, or hula hooping. There was all kinds of stuff in there. But basically what we did was we brought our participants to that room. We told them they had to sit there for about 25 minutes before they could take an eye test. Okay, we're still on this whole eye test thing. Remember, it's deception. So when they're sitting there, then we bring in a stooge, and the stooge starts to play with all these things. And basically we're hoping that those in the misinformed group and the ignorant group, because we're watching behind a one-way mirror, we're hoping that those people are the ones that display the most euphoria. They're the ones that are doing the most active things in the classroom. And how did we know what was considered most active? Well, we pre-arranged these activities, and we gave this list of activities to some college students, and we basically just had them rate on the most active. So for instance, let's say on a scale of 0 to 10, doodling, maybe a 1, and hula hooping, probably a 10. All right. So now, so we have our physiological part of our independent variable, and then our psychological part of our independent variable. Now we kind of combine these. So we have epi-informed, we have an epi-misinformed, we have an epi-ignorant, and a placebo in the euphoric classroom. Then we take not the same, okay, there's 7. Remember, there's 7, not 8. There should be 8 if all 4 groups were in both rooms, but there's 7 because there was no misinformed anger group. All right. Originally it was supposed to be a control group, but it doesn't really specify in the study why they didn't do this epi-misinformed in the anger group. Okay. So I talked to you about the euphoric classroom. Let's little bit about what the anger classroom is. It was kind of the same thing. Hey, you're going to do an eye test. Come in here for 25 minutes and take this questionnaire while you wait. So they go in, they start taking a questionnaire. There's a stooge. He's taking the questionnaire too. But what he does is he starts to get irate over certain questions and starts to talk to the group about how bogus this is. Like, can you believe they're asking how many sexual partners I've had in the past 10 years? I mean, I don't know if it was exactly that question, but there were pretty outrageous questions that would get your blood bubbling a little bit. But they were also way too out there that some participants figured out that they were part of this deception in the study. I mean, you're going here to do this test on drug for eyes, and here you are in a room taking a questionnaire about sexual diseases. How many have so to a degree it did work. Look at the results though. The results are really interesting in the anger classroom because it's kind of flipped. The people that we told would be angry are the ones that said they were the most, but they actually showed it the least. That was the epi-informed group. It was really interesting. So if you need help with Schachter and Singer, go watch my video on Schachter and Singer. I try to explain it a little bit in depth for you. Let's just quickly go over these again. So our sample, 184 male college students. They were volunteers. There's a motivational bias. We have 2 variables and then 7 conditions. In our physiological, we have epi-informed, epi-misinformed, epi-ignorant, and then we have placebo. In our psychological, we have euphoric and anger. Okay, so don't get those mixed up. Try to really figure out which ones, group those physiological with the epinephrine, the physiological feeling, and then psychological with thinking like your brain and the surrounding areas. It looks different. It's a different psyche. Okay. Try to remember that it all has to do with the 2-factor theory of emotion, which has to do with physiology meets psychology. That's what this is about. Okay. If you need some more help with Schachter and Singer, like I said, go watch that video, or you can send me an email at apsychology9990@gmail.com. I do have a Google Classroom. If you want access to it, just send me the email and ask me for access. I will send you an invite. It has all kinds of material that you need PowerPoints, original studies, extra study material. All right. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.